Hi, Dave Youngquist, Last Cavalry TV. Welcome to part 2 of painting a figure with acrylics. Let's get right to it. Okay, as you remember from the last episode, the face has been base coated with Vallejo beige red. It's one of my favorite colors, base colors. And now we're going to begin by laying in some of our blocked shadow colors. And for that, I'm using color number 2 from the Andrea Flesh paint set. Now there's a lot of good Flesh paint sets on the market. Vallejo makes some, Andrea, scale 75. So right now, today we're going to be using a combination of the Vallejo and the Andrea. So using that color 2, I thinned down the paint quite a bit, and we're going to begin to lay in, again this is just block painting, but the paint is thin, our first layer of shadows. Put that in right here. Bags underneath the eyes. Okay. Bit underneath the nose. A little bit right there. I'm going to jump into Vallejo Flat Flesh. This color right there, 70955. Bottle's well used, so you might not be able to read it. And we're going to get a little bit of that out. Again, really, really thin. I'm going to cut that eye bag back a little bit. And lay in our first highlight. Again, this step doesn't have to be perfect, but just keep it thin. And you'll notice I jump back and forth quite a bit between the colors, but when I'm blocking them in, it just seems to be a little simpler for me. Now I've got Andrea color number 5 from the Flesh paint set, which is again a darker tone, and I'm going to add just a little bit right on the upper part of the nostril, a little bit of extra dark color there. Whoops, slopped a little bit, that's okay. Get rid of that right there. When the paint's wet, you can really blend it out. And a lot of people say, hey, you know, how do you blend acrylics? Well, keep the paint wet and paint really quick. Now an extra layer of highlights. This is Vallejo Basic Skin Tone. Now the real difference between the Vallejo and the Andrea are, you know, both of them in these particular colors, they both dry very flat, which I like. But the Vallejos tend to skew a little bit towards the pink, where the Andreas tend to skew towards a bit more of a tan color. And since this guy is obviously you know, going to be in winter dress, we're going to keep the colors a little bit pinker. So right underneath the shadow that we put in the eye bag, we're going to lay in this basic skin tone color. Again, it looks a little blocky right now, that's okay. And you see that we laid that in, but we're going to stipple it out real quick. That is how you blend acrylics. And you see we're just tapping it there. Okay. Take a bit more of the, again, the basic skin tone, and we're going to lay a highlight right next to our shadow. Right like that. More there. I'm going to add just a little bit up here. Okay. On the bridge of the nose, back to the flat flesh. And you notice that I'm using the side of the brush, and I'm not going all the way down to the ball of the nose. We're going to add a bit more of flat flesh to the nostrils. And again, you can see just kind of tapping the paint in there. As the brush goes off screen, what I'm doing is adding just literally a bit more water to the paint. A little bit more there. And right above the side. Now typically I paint this figure straight on, but for the purposes of this video, so you can actually see what I'm doing, I'm painting at this really odd angle, but hopefully it makes it easier for you to see what we're doing. We're going to get a little color in here. Okay. Blend that out a bit more. Now back to the basic skin tone. And we're going to take and add just a bit of this to the top of the nostril. So you've got a highlight right there and just right in the center of the bridge. Okay? Again, you see we're just tapping it in. And I notice here I want to cut this back a little bit. Go up this way. Now I'm going to paint the lips. We'll go back in detail, but again, I jump around a lot. I know that's kind of crazy, but it's the way I like to do it. I'm going to use Andrea Color number 5 from the red paint set. Very, very dark red. What we're going to do is paint upper lip this color. Not the entire lip, that would look really odd, but we're going to paint the upper lip. Yeah, I know, it looks nutty. Just wait. Let that dry for a minute. Be right back. Okay, I painted the other side of the face just, for continuity purposes and changed the angle. It's going to make it a little bit easier for me to actually paint. So what I'm going to do now is take a bit more of the base color, which is the beige red, and just going to tone down that eye bag a little bit, put like a little wrinkle in it. Again, that's with the beige red. Real fine little line there. Again, off camera, I will do the other side so everything stays consistent. Now, I'm going to take a mix of Vallejo dark red, well-used bottle, but it is dark red, and flat flesh, and mix those two together so we get a really nice rosy color for the bottom lip. I also want to take a bit of that color we just used, that rose color that we just used for the lower lip, and just add a bit to the tip of his nose. Remember, he's cold. It's Russia. And then I'm also going to take a bit of that color, really, really thin it down, and I'm going to float a little bit of that color. You see I'm tapping it in, not brushing it in, into the hollows of the cheek. And you'll see this face start to come alive. And if you have any excess water on the brush, brush it away or into the side here. There we go. That way you won't leave a tide mark in this area. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of that same color, again really thin, put it right up in the temple area. And now the fun part. Now we just start going back and forth and back and forth. Take a little bit of the flat flesh, really thin, and we're going to tap a bit of that in. Pure water on the brush. You see how we make that transition? A little bit of the basic skin tone, which is again really light color. A little bit there. A little bit more of the red. And we're going to get a little bit darker with the red right in the corner. Oop, too much water. Got too much water. Look at that. Goes right away. Make it a bit darker yet again right there. just in the very center of that. Finally, just a little bit, try to not block the view here. A little bit more highlight. Yeah, like that. Little. Now he does have a mustache, scraggly little mustache, and a bit of a a scraggly beard. We will get to that in a moment. A little more pure water, a little blending out. Okay, I'm going to lay the scraggly mustache and the beard in just so we can see how the colors are going to contrast. Of course, we have to use burnt umber. It's my favorite color. Use it on every figure. And what we're going to do is just block in, again, this scraggly little beard. We'll lighten the tone, but I just want to get this in there. It always helps me see, if the colors that I'm working with are good. A little water. Again, you see, we're not paint, we're just kind of tapping. Tapping that paint in. Again, I'm going to make it more scraggly, but see, this lets me see that this highlight that I put here is really going to pop, which I wanted it to do. And we'll do the same thing. Might block for a moment here, but I want to get an eyebrow in, at least on the one side. That I am using a paint stroke motion. A little bit more. I'm going back to my flat flesh color, and I'm going to pop a highlight right there. Right there. No, it looks a little weird right at the moment, but let's get that. That one didn't land right. I'm going to now readjust the lips. You can see it's just a lot of back and forth. I'm not, focusing on any particular area. It's just whatever my eye tells me it needs to be fixed. And I noticed that I'd kind of slopped there. I'm going to add a little bit more, I should say, of the flat flesh to that lower lip mixture, and just hit the edge. I want to put a highlight there. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. There. Oops, see, slop there. Dry brush to it. It removes it. Okay. I'm going to let this dry for a second. Oh, before I do that, sorry. A little bit more red on the end of the nose. Yeah, I like that a little bit. And I want to go back and put that highlight in because I did kind of take it away. Put it right on this side also. It's very thin. Again, I will go back and then paint the other side. And I would be, again, doing this at the same time, but for the purpose of the video, I think it's... Cameraman Kent insists that I keep the brush up. Okay, let's take a break, and we'll get back and we'll do some more highlighting. So I painted the other side to match. I haven't done anything else, just to give you, so there's some balance. I'm going to add a little bit more red now to the bottom lip, because I saw that it needed just a bit more color. So we're going to pop that in, and then just a little more highlight also right on the bottom. Just maybe even a little bit lighter than that. Yeah, cool, okay. I like that. Now, we're going to take that burnt umber, and I'm going to mix our flat flesh with it, muddy color. And again, just for contrast, is this guy looking like James Brolin? I don't know. Yeah, just a little bit of highlight. That way, it looks a little scrubbier. Let's tap that in like that. We're going to leave the bottom part dark. A little more flesh yet again. Smooth that transition line. And tap, tap, trying to keep my thumb out of the way, I know. Okay, now there's a ton of refining that obviously can be done, and normally I would never paint a face this quick, but I wanted to at least give you, the basic color formulas that I like to use on occasion, and some of the basic techniques anyways. Put a little, get the water off the brush there, wipe it on the helmet, that's okay. Let's darken this up here. That way, again, we kind of see, the actual color of the face. Oh yeah, that's enough for one episode. Thanks so much for stopping by. It's been Dave Youngquist on Last Cavalry TV. The next episode will feature the painting of the field gear. See you real soon.